Hello, Music Theory 2 students. This video is going to show you how to find and analyze diatonic sequences when you are given only the first statement of the diatonic sequence, or the first statement plus the first note of the second statement. So the first statement plus the first note of the second statement. So unfortunately, you need from the Horton Ritchey 21.2. This is what I have up on the screen. Unfortunately, it didn't make it up in the handouts package, so you can download it from Learn, or you can just watch what I'm doing on the video to help you with your homework, which is 21.1, and that is in the assignments package. And again, you can download that from Learn or get it from your assignments package. So the one that you have to hand in is 21.1. So the first thing to notice for this, this one here is that it is only the opening pattern. Okay, so it's the first statement plus the first note of the second statement. Without the first note of the second statement, you're never going to know what kind of a sequence it is. So you have to be able to find or understand the fact that this is the first beat always of the second statement. And that's where you then, and the way that I've taught these is that you have, you know the baseline, you know the strong beat to strong beat baseline, okay? And then you know the beat to beat decoration. So we're looking for that, and you can ignore everything that's above that. All you want to look for is that baseline. The downbeat to downbeat soprano will help you with that too a little bit, but really, you just really need the baseline to determine that. So for each of these patterns, we have to identify the type of sequence, and then we have to bracket and name the outer voice melodic figure. So we don't have to worry about the inner voices at all. Okay, so let's start with the first one. The first thing you need to look at is the baseline. We're going to determine what kind of sequence this is to begin with. So this is really nice and straightforward. Here's beat 1 of the first pattern, beat 1 of the second pattern. So we just have to look at what that is. That is a third, and it's decorated with a skip step. So which one of our diatonic sequences moves down in thirds? Our deceptive resolution sequence. Okay, so, oops. Okay, so you take that, sorry, that's ended up in the wrong spot. It needs to be there. And I just said what this figure is. This is our skip step, which gets us the root of our chord in our deceptive resolution sequence is a skip step. The other one, of course, is passing. Okay, so those are our two options. So this will be a triad, an A major triad. So we in fact have A, C, and E. We could also add the seventh in there. It could be A, C, E, and G. Okay, so we name this as well. We know it's a skip step. Okay, and now we've just figured out our bass melodic figure, and now we need to look at the soprano. So this is where we follow the steps that you learned from chapter 18 and chapter 20, which is you're going to look for 5-note melodic figures, then 4, and then 3. Okay, so 5-note melodic figures, downbeat to downbeat, 4-note within the beat. If not, then 4-note downbeat to downbeat, and then 3-note beat to beat. Okay, so let's start here. We do in fact have 5 notes, but if our 5-note melodic figures are always based on an interval, so if we look from an F sharp to an E, we have a second. This is not one of the melodic figures that is allowed, so let's look within the beat to a 4-note. And this is in fact one of our figures, which would be a broken chord, and this would make sense because it's all a D, F, A chord, and you can see we have D, F, and A. It's all chord tones. Makes perfect sense. We call this a broken chord. So we have a 4-note broken chord. Okay, now because that's within the beat figure, we now look at the next beat that we have, which is here, and we're looking from this to this. So this is weird. We have a second. We have a big leap. The only thing that looks anything like that would be a really extended double skip. But remember, we're now dealing with instrumental music. So this means that we often have changes of register. So if we consider that a change of register, then we move that note down. Oops, why is that doing that? Okay, we move it down then that C up there is actually this, sorry, I'm making the note head first, is actually this C right there, right? So the way that you notate that is you say, well, this is a change of register. You can just put COR there to tell me that you know that there's been a change of register. And then if we look at that figure now, this is in fact one that we know, it's just a skip step. So we can just say, oh, we know that one, skip step. Okay, and now we've done the first one. Second one. Okay, so in this case, again, we know that this is one statement. Thankfully, we have a bar line here so we can see. So we have one statement. Here's the beginning of the second statement. We look at the bass, it's moving up by a second. We only have one that moves up, and that one is called the ascending 5/6 sequence. Okay, so we name that ascending 5/6 sequence. The melodic figure we have here leaps down a third and up a fourth. That's our double skip. Okay, so again, we name that. Okay, and we've now already finished our bass line for that one. Now let's look here. Melodic figures are funny. They can go from beat to beat. They can go from eighth note to eighth note. They can go from quarter to quarter. In this case, if we go from here to here, there's a tie here. So this is going from an eighth note to an eighth note. We recognize that 3-note figure, one of the most common, because that one is in fact passing. Okay, there's nothing from that beat to that beat. So then we go to the next beat, from this beat to this beat, so 2 eighth notes. Again, this is a figure we've seen before. Remember that funny 3-note figure that can repeat a note and then leap anywhere? That's our repetition figure. Okay, so we've done 2. I'm going to do one more to help you with this. So I'm going to skip this one. And remember, because it's pretty similar, ignore that. That's a weird key signature there, or time signature there. Let's go to this one. This one's a little bit more tricky because the sequence doesn't actually start on a strong beat. It starts on a pickup, okay? And then it actually repeats on the next strong beat. So it's kind of a little bit off, but it still follows a lot of the same rules. So this is a 3/8 time signature. We're obviously not starting on the strong beat. We're starting on a pickup, and our most strong beat here is right here. So this is really important for when we're doing the decoration. We always start on a beat. Okay, and in 3/8 meter, this is in fact a beat. This would be the strongest beat in this place here. But let's look at the bass first. So we know that it starts here. This is all part of that first sequence, the first statement of the sequence. And this begins the second statement of the sequence, okay? And so if we look at our bass line, that moves down by a second. So which one of our figures moves down by a second? That's correct. It's our descending natural succession sequence. Okay, so we put that there. Now let's find our melodic figure here. We have an octave leap here, right? That's an A down to a low A. If we move that up to here, okay, that would just be all a repeating A. So we could, if we wanted to, we could call that repeating. But if we take another step back and just say that this is an E, leaping down a fifth to an A, leaping up to a D, that's our overarching figure here. And I'm just going to put change of register because if we've moved something up. So we've done a change of register in there to notate that. So our overarching figure from the beginning of the pattern of the sequence to the beginning of the next pattern, those are implied beginnings of patterns. So there's going to be our beats from now. So there's a beat to a beat. This is all repetition in the middle. We actually, in fact, have a double skip. I will take if you find this very confusing, I will take a number of different answers for this one. Why is that leaving me? Okay, so I'll take another different answers. If you decide that you want to go from here to here, I would accept that as a repetition figure as well. So there's sometimes there's a bunch of different answers for this. Let's go to the upper voice now. So this is a very weak beat. It's not even supported below it. So I am going to look for a 3-note figure from here to here, because that's our first strong guess beat in this measure. And that figure, we know it's an anticipation. I don't know why this is insisting on going all the way down there now. Not happy with me. Okay, so we have an anticipation figure. And then our soprano moves up here. Okay, so we have this and then we divide into 2. So our soprano line is only here. Okay, so all we have is this note that's then repeated, it's actually held. So if you didn't name that, I would be okay with that. I'd also be okay with you naming this an anticipation figure, because that is what's happening there. Oh, goodness gracious. Where did it go? Okay, we have another, oh, there it is. Decided to move in weird places. Okay, so we have another anticipation figure. You could, if you wanted, name these figures. So we have a beat to a beat, a neighbor, another beat to beat, neighbor, and then a beat to beat broken chord. That's a little bit clearer there. And then we're going from 8th note to 8th note to name them. If you started with 5, you would notice that that isn't a 5-note figure. 4, that's not that's a 4-note figure, but we have to be a strong beat to strong beat figure. So in this case, we're going 3-note beat to beat melodic figures there. That's on the key. So if you want to look at that more, go on to learn and see the key, to see all the details of that lower voice, and then for the rest of the assignment. So hopefully that helps you with your assignment. I'm trying to keep these videos short. They end up being much longer than I want them to be.